Hello, Destiny Walkers. Welcome back to another one of my YouTube channels. For those that are tuning in the first time, my name is Lakeisha Thompson, better known as Keisha. I am a motivational life speaker. I am an ambassador for Christ. I'm also a certified life coach. My purpose is to push your pain into purpose after walking from toxic relationships or coming out of narcissist abuse from a biblical perspective. The topic we're going to discuss today is called the smear campaign. What to expect with the smear campaign after you leaving somebody that's toxic or you're leaving a narcissist abuse relationship. The smear campaign is definitely going to happen. What can you expect from the smear campaign? They're going to go around talking about you to family members, to friends, to co-workers, to church members, whoever you have been in contact with. They're going to go behind your back and just talk about any and everything to those particular people. The reason the smear campaign is because they want to taint your character. They want people to have this bad image of you in their mind. So most likely after you leave a toxic person or a narcissistic person, they're going to hit you with what's called the smear campaign. When they go around spreading these lies to what I would call your community or your friends or the people you associate with, they're going to be confused because in the relationship you have been wearing so many faces for the narcissist. They're going to find it hard to believe that the narcissist is telling a lie because you have been covering up for the lies for the narc or the narcissist person. So they're most likely going to find it difficult to believe that they are telling a lie, but you must understand that you cannot chase down every lie. You cannot chase down every lie. Some people are going to believe the narc and some people are going to believe you. But what we have to fail to realize is that narcissists have flying monkeys. They have people that are automatically going to take their sides. They're automatically going to do bidding for them, run around and just believe everything they say. They're going to come to you and they're going to hear what you got to say, and they're going to go back to them and tell them. They're going to be back and forth between you two. So that's why they're called flying monkeys. So when dealing with flying monkeys or people that are friends with both you and a narcissist, some of those people have to be cut loose as well because they will keep you in that confusion, that chaos when it comes to that narcissist. They're going to keep the drama stirred up because they're automatically going back and forth to you and him or you and her, spreading the lies, keeping the confusion, giving the narcissist more energy. One thing that we must remember about a lie, we always hear the saying, if you tell one lie, you have to tell another one to cover up the first lie. And that is exactly what a narcissist is going to have to do. They're going to have to keep telling lies and lies and lies on you to get people to believe what they're actually saying. But one thing about your character will always stand. You cannot chase down any and everything about a person. Eventually, who you are is going to stand out regardless of what somebody say about you. People that really, really know you, they know your character. So you don't have to justify every lie that a narcissist tells. The only thing that matters is that you know the truth. You know your self-worth. You know your identity. You know the reasons that you left the narc. You know the reasons why you will no longer put up with the abuse. The only thing that matters is that you left and you got free from that kind of toxic abuse. You shouldn't have to validate your reason for leaving to parents, to co-workers, to family, to friends, to your pastor. Your reason for leaving is for your sake and the benefit of your health. You shouldn't have to justify that to nobody. Justifying why you left to people trying to prove a point make you look actually more guilty than innocent because you're trying to chase down every lie, and it was like that make you look more guilty. So like I said, your character will stand regardless of what you have to face when it comes to a narcissist or a person that you've been under the abuse with. Don't worry about trying to justify yourself. I'm reminded of the biblical story. You know, I have to give you a biblical background or a story to apply to what I'm talking about. When Jesus and the 12 disciples were sitting at the table, and Jesus said, one of you are going to betray me. And they all looking around like, who is going to betray you? Waiting on Jesus to say, Judas, you're going to be the one to betray me. But Jesus did not expose Judas. Jesus knew what Judas was going to do, but it wasn't his job to expose Judas. It was his job to know who was for him and who was against him and how to deal with them accordingly. I say all that to say that you don't have to go and expose the narcissist to this person, that person, and that. It was for your own benefit who's for you and who's against you. So you know that this person is not for you. They are against you. So you have to leave accordingly. Everybody's not going to understand your reason for leaving, but you know your reason for leaving. The reason for the smear campaign is to see if they still got control over you. You are not to be moved by your emotions when it comes to a narcissist. They feed off of emotions. They feed off of energy. They thrive off of that because to you, it seems like they're upsetting you. That's the purpose of them, to upset you, to get you out of character so people can be like, oh, yes, I see what they are talking about. Not understanding that the narcissist behind closed doors instead of poking at you and picking at you and driving you into having this kind of reaction. So the purpose of the smear campaign is to get you to act out of character, to see if they still got control over you. But you have to understand, over here, we walk by faith and not by sight. So I said all that to say is you cannot be easily moved by your emotions, regardless if you're in a toxic relationship or not. Sometimes you have to walk past the pain, the crying, the upset, the lies, the abuse to get where you got to go, because it's facts over feelings. I know what you did to me. I shouldn't have to justify what you did to me to every person for my leaving. I'm doing it because I know the facts. I'm doing it because I suffered the abuse. I'm doing it because I know what it's like behind closed doors, the trauma and the abuse I had to face dealing with this person. So I shouldn't have to justify my reason for leaving. Just know that I am gone. When a toxic person or a narcissist knows that you're not moved by your emotions anymore, the lies would eventually calm down. The smear campaign would eventually fade away. So you don't have to worry about it. They do all that to keep you in a loop because they know you probably distant yourself or went no contact or either low contact with them, and you don't want to be bothered by them. So they're trying to get you to come out of the shell, to reach back out into them so they can draw you back into the web of lies. So once they realize that you are not living in that false world or that false image or the false lies that they wanted everybody to believe, you face reality for what it really is, they'll move on to the next victim. They'll move on to the new supply. They'll move on to whoever it is that they can pull energy or feed or boost their ego because they know they can't get it from you. So don't worry about the smear campaign. It's easily said than done because I have been heard or I have been told so many things that the person have said or the people, but when you know your self-worth, when you know your own identity, it doesn't bother you as much because you know that they are lies. So you begin to laugh at the lies and the tactic of the enemy because you know that you're not easily moved by your emotions anymore. You begin to see your self-worth because something that once made you cry make you laugh now. Something that once had you in a frenzy or had you acting out of character, now you can just sit in your peace. You can begin to see your self-worth after leaving these toxic people or toxic relationships. So I advise you, when you hear the smear campaign, it is coming. It definitely, it is coming. And sometimes it comes very hard and very fast because some of the things that you hear that you thought that you can trust this person with, and they begin to use it as ammunition and fire and fuel towards you, your intimate thoughts, your intimate conversation, some of the intimate abuse that you had to suffer and nobody know because you thought that this was a person that you can trust, not knowing that they were going to backfire and use what was secret, what was your intimate relationship, what was your pillow talks, and use it against you. That is very, very hard, and that is very, very hard for you to comprehend. How can a person be that evil? But we have to realize who we're talking about. We're dealing with somebody that's on the demonic entity. They're out to kill, steal, and destroy you, whether it's your character, whether it's your credit, whether it's your home, your children, your relationships. They don't care. They're on a mission to kill, steal, and destroy anything that they can when it comes to dealing with you. So when it comes to the smear campaign, I advise you to just buckle up and get ready for the ride. Because as long as you stay in your emotions, they're going to always keep you in your emotions. Face reality, know your worth, know who you are, be grounded and rooted in the word of God, because that's the only thing that kept me. I had to speak affirmations over my life. I had to learn to get up every morning and speak positive stuff over me, because I knew the lies that the toxic person that was spreading about me. And eventually, it fades away because they'll begin to move on, because I don't have nothing to offer you here. Once they feel like it's draining over here, you're not boosting me and it's draining, they'll eventually walk away. They'll eventually go away. They'll eventually move on to the next victim. But you have to let this pass, as well as everything else. Within time, people will begin to see who you really, really are. And they'll begin to decipher the truth from the lies. So you don't have to chase down every lie, because you will be chasing and running down everybody, and that's draining. That's what the narcissists want to do, drain you while they're not there. But they did enough of that, so it's time for you to pour back into yourself. Build your self-esteem up. Focus on what God has for you in this season, whether it's writing a book, whether it's starting a podcast, whether it's getting into ministry, whether it's just going out and just enjoying yourself and being with other friends or like-minded people. So don't waste your time trying to chase down every lie. The best revenge is to get on your game. Yes, get on your game, strive, and do what God has called you to do. While the smear campaign was going on, I got into school. I got enrolled into school. I started my podcast. I started investing in speaking and pouring into other women and men that have been going through the same thing that I have been going through. I invested in time with my kids. I invested time in myself, doing what I wanted to do. After all those years of pouring into somebody else, I start to pour into myself. So I advise you all just to stay prayed up and just not to try to focus on what the narcissist got going on, because it would eventually fade away. So don't forget to hit this like, share, and subscribe button so we can stay in tune into everything that God has for us in this season. I want you to always remember that I love you. Most of all, God loves you. Until next time, be blessed.